Alright, we are back for part 2. And we have a lot of issues in this country right now going on. One of the big ones being, poverty. We got a lot of money. I mean, we're broke, but we still have a lot of money. However the hell that works. But one way to try to save the taxpayers' money, supposedly, was to infringe just a little bit on civil liberties.
Just a little bit.
Do a little thing called making people drug test in order to receive welfare. Now, it turns out Florida didn't save any money when doing this. Last year, Florida became the first state to pass and implement a bill that mandated suspicionless drug testing of all applicants for TANF, which is Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. And all applicants had to pay for the cost of the drug test themselves, and if their test came back negative, they'd be reimbursed. Well, here's problem number 1. You're applying for welfare.
No one says you have.
Who the hell has money for a drug test? Sure, you'll be reimbursed later if you happen to pass, but that's just less money for groceries. You're applying for assistance. You don't have the food stamps yet. You're using that money for food. So you're going to make them pay for that drug test.
Yeah, exactly.
But can they afford it?
No.
Yeah. All right.
No.
But anyway, okay, the law was in effect for 4 months.
How much does that cost?
How much does what cost?
A drug test.
I don't know.
$5, $20.
Well, I will put it this way, okay? If you go to a store like Meijer, go to the pharmacy section, there are drug testing kits that people can buy to take home.
Oh, but I'm sure the state of Florida is going to insist on only the finest.
Those alone cost anywhere from $20 to $40.
Okay. Yep. Nope.
So, yeah.
And now you're ridiculous again.
Yep. See, that's the only basis I have. But
too late. That's enough.
It is, isn't it? I mean, think about the amount of food that you can get on the produce aisle for $20. That's fruits and vegetables for a couple of weeks.
Think about not getting that.
Yeah. Okay. And it's just But anyway, what ended up happening was the ACLU of Florida filed a lawsuit, and federal court blocked the law, calling it unconstitutional. Now,
really,
the New York Times released the most comprehensive data yet on how the law fared during the short period of this time. I'm going to open up that tab. I can take a look at that. I haven't seen that yet. I've just been reading this ACLU post. But, okay. In the 4 months that Florida's law was in place, 4,086 applicants were tested. How many do you believe tested positive? Did you ever read this article?
2 or 3?
2 or 3? No. 108.
108.
That's 2.6% of the applicants. And you know what that is? That is
tiny.
A rate more than 3 times lower than the 8.13% of all Floridians aged 12 and up estimated by the federal government to use illegal drugs. So
they use drugs
less. The people who can't afford it use it less than the people who can.
Surprise!
Imagine that. So anyway, and this is something good to tell Governor Rick Scott, because he would always argue that this law was necessary because he said that welfare recipients use drugs at a higher rate than the general population.
Oh, they do now.
Oh, not true at all. Okay, here's what ended up happening. The data released shows that Florida spent $118,140 reimbursing the overwhelming number of people, the 3,938 who tested negative. So, take $118,140 and divide that by 3,938. I've got a calculator on my computer here.
Oh, you do now.
118,140 divided by 3,938. You get a whopping $30 per drug test.
That's what they made? That's
how much it costs. That's how much they had to reimburse, because these are all the people who who passed the test. And how long did it take for them to get that money back?
Have they gotten it back yet?
It says that these are the people who got reimbursed.
Oh, okay.
We don't even know.
So we have to assume they got reimbursed already.
No.
Well, in that case, I have no idea.
Now, this is far more than any money saved by the program at a net cost to the state of over $45,000. And that's only part of the cost to the state to run this program. Of course, there are also administrative costs, staff costs, and, of course, litigation. So, furthermore, it says...
So it's bleeding money.
Yes.
That's what you're trying to tell me. It's bleeding money. It turned out to be completely useless and pointless because it turns out they're not doing drugs anyways.
Yeah, but guess what? Still, even with this failing, over 25 states have introduced welfare drug testing legislation just this year. That's how you appease to the, young average conservative who is just all like, let's blame the poor on all our problems. This is a perfect way for Republicans in office specifically to further that agenda. Because they're the ones who push this stuff. This is the Republicans.
Oh, yeah.
So, but don't you see it?
I guess my question is, they say 25 states have introduced legislation.
Yes.
But is that legislation that's actually intended to go anywhere? Because I think a lot of legislation is just sort of thrown out there just sort of as a political move.
You're right. Fair enough. But, just this Monday, Georgia Governor Nathan Deal signed a bill into law that is very similar to Florida's.
Okay. So
let's take a look at this.
That's what actually counts.
Yes.
How many states actually do anything about it?
Fair enough. But here's what it is, okay? The deal, this is back from... Oh, wait, this is an old story. Well, because this is 2012, but...
Well, okay, old is relative.
Yeah, well...
When 2012?
Of course, this in April.
Okay, so it's over a year out of date.
Yeah. Which I don't understand, because this ACLU blog that I was reading is from... Oh, it's from 2012. Okay. Well then.
But still.
These are all... This is a 2012 story. I totally got duped on one of my Facebook pages, man. These are all 2012 articles.
This is still a real issue,
and
it's a segue into another issue.
Yeah, okay.
Oh.
People can't afford to eat, they can't afford drugs. You know how many people on welfare still have jobs?
Most of them.
A lot of them.
Most of them
work for welfare's
Most of them are families. Most of them are hardworking people.
Yeah.
It's not just people sitting around soaking up free checks from the government.
Imagine that. It's like, Andy, you had some interesting numbers regarding... To back this up.
What numbers are you thinking of?
Well, you know, how much income the average fast food worker makes on a year, full time. Trying to support the family.
I think it says the average income for a fast food worker, look at $10,000, $18,000 a year. I mean, it's not much. What was? I know what you're thinking of, and I lost it.
The 38 hours a week lady.
It was. She was working 38 hours a week. She was getting. I don't even remember. I don't remember the numbers.
Well, here's a local angle. According to NBC,
it's over.
Workers have been walking out in Michigan just now. Organizers estimate that as many as 400 workers at more than 60 fast food restaurants in the Detroit metro area walked off the job on Friday in what just may be the biggest fast food strike in American history. Now, this shut down multiple restaurants entirely, including multiple McDonald's outlets, a Long John Silver's, a Burger King, 2 Popeyes restaurants, and a KFC. And at one McDonald's, management attempted to avert a shutdown by bringing in replacement workers, but you know what those replacement workers did? They promptly joined the strikers. Now, this strike in Detroit is the second major labor action to hit an American city's fast food industry this week. Now, on Wednesday and Thursday, more than 100 workers in St. Louis walked off the job at 30 different restaurants. And these are walkouts similarly happen in New York, Central Pennsylvania, and Chicago. This is suggesting a nationwide trend. Now, there's no unions in fast food.
For a lot of obvious reasons, which is that most people are only there for 2 months.
Yes.
The turnover is remarkably high. Why bother joining a union if this is just an in-and-out job?
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because I have a job that's an in-and-out type job too, but I'm in a union. So
does Myers have 75% turnover?
I don't know how those
75%.
Where does it? I don't understand what 75% turnover means.
In 1 year, 75% of the people are new, year after year after year.
No, dynamics a little different at Meyer. But what happens at Meyer is we get pay raises in the union contract. After you've worked so many hours with the company, you get raises. They're slow and steady, but ultimately, if I'm still there when I'm 30, I'm going to be making more than $10 an hour.
But how much more?
Right now, I only make $7.40. Now,
okay. Anyways.
Detroit striking fast food workers are fired up and ready to continue to grow this movement, not just in Detroit and the state of Michigan, but across the country, says Reverend Charles Williams, too, who is president of the Michigan chapter of the National Action Network. And Williams is a leader in the D15 campaign, which wants to raise the minimum wage in Detroit to $15 an hour.
Which is kind of a big jump.
Yeah, that'd be doubling it. Now, Detroit workers are demanding the right to form a union and that their base pay be raised to $15 an hour.
Okay, yeah, keep going.
This strike takes place in the unique context of Michigan labor politics. You know, this
because
state, we just became a right-to-work state.
Right to work.
We haven't been that way for a while, and I've always been a little wishy-washy on the issue of right to work. I remember when coming out with an opinion before I got this, I remember someone told me that was all like, well, you're entitled to your opinions, and it's nice you're informed, but because you haven't been a part of the working class and haven't really had a job, your opinions are only scholastic, so I can't really take what you say seriously until you have a job. Well, guess what?
Congratulations.
I have a job now.
And you're in a union.
I am in a union.
And how does it feel?
I'm not sure.
I'm still not sure.
I mean, I pay $6 a week in dues, and
the horror.
I haven't needed them yet.
The union?
I haven't needed them yet. I'm still on my 90-day probation.
Oh, okay.
And I guess the only thing I will say I do like about the union is we have point systems set up for attendance and for personal conduct that allows us to know when we've been bad enough to get fired. There are certain offenses that we know can automatically get us fired. Selling alcohol to a minor is one of them, even if it's by mistake. Can't do it. That's an automatic firing. I understand that. However, being rude to a customer, depending on how much, as long as you don't touch them, you might be able to get away with doing it a couple times before you get fired.
Okay.
Points disappear after 12 months.
Oh. Okay.
Well, what happens is it's an ongoing 12-month cycle, and it's either every 4 months or every 5 months that you don't get any points, you get 1 point from the record erased, meaning you can go in the negatives.
Really? You can go negative?
I think so. Pretty sure, because I asked them about that. I'm pretty sure that's what the person told me. But, so it's one of those things where I can't quite tell. I've had former Meijer employees before who have been customers in my lane who told me that the union doesn't really do anything for you. But it's still better than working at Walmart.
Agreed.
So, it couldn't hurt to try to get a union. You know, get some wage increases. Let's talk a little bit.
But I think your biggest issue is that none of these fast food places want anything to do with unions because that, I guess, they, like I said, with the 75% turnover, most people come in, they leave. They come in, they leave.
Well, they don't have to worry about them costing too much money.
It's easy to manipulate people who are just going to leave again. If there's a union, if there's better working conditions, then people stay, then people start to have higher expectations, and they start to say, well, I've been here for 5 years.
But couldn't that... Yeah, you're right about... So you're understanding that with the union, people won't turn over as much. People will stay. In some ways, that'll be good because, you can... At the same time, then, management can expect their workers to do a better job. They can set up, expectations in the union contract saying, we're going to pay you more, we're going to expect more.
know if there's a whole lot of room to expect more, though. You know, I mean, it's fast food, to be completely honest. I mean, you can keep increasing efficiency forever, but in terms of food quality, I don't think McDonald's is looking to be really pushing that envelope of quality.
Well, one of the big arguments against the raising of their wages would be that the fast food restaurants couldn't afford to do it. Like, now you saw something interesting about how much...
A letter signed by 100 economists and published by the University of Massachusetts says that raising the minimum wage to $10.50 would increase the price of a Big Mac by, hold on, wait for it, a whole nickel. Oh, no! If you double the salaries of all the McDonald's workers, your Big Mac costs an extra 68 cents.
They're already
That's
increasing.
pretty impressive.
And that prices are already going up.
I wouldn't pay the extra nickel.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Oh, yeah, no, not at all. Oh, God, no. Well, it's interesting that they try to say this, that they can't afford it. You know what the salaries are like, according to QSR, and this was just back in, this is from 2007, okay? James A. Skinner, in the year of 2007, he was the CEO of McDonald's. He didn't find McDonald's. He didn't come up with the brilliant ideas that make McDonald's succeed. He just became their CEO in 2004. In 2007, his total cash compensation was $9,443,486 and $8,960,344 in stock options. Why not offer your employees some stock options? Look at that.
Because they're going to be gone in a month.
So essentially, but while you're there, it's incentive to keep them there.
As long as they can keep this cyclical, they don't have to really treat them terribly well because they'll be gone again.
Well, the people who are leading this strike are obviously the people who are trying to support a family with this kind of money. The people who can't afford to get their kids shoes.
Forget about kids. These are college kids. I mean...
But you had something earlier...
Okay.
About a mother.
What?
You said earlier something about someone who works 38 hours a week and can't afford shoes. Maybe it's her own shoes.
Okay.
You might have been talking about her own shoes.
Shoes? What the heck are you talking about?
You were talking about it earlier.
No, this... Okay, this is... Someone when interviewed said she works 38 hours a week at 2 different KFCs and still takes in welfare. $113 a month, she says, in welfare. And I think that's ridiculous. If you're essentially working full-time, how does that not add up? I don't...
Yeah. And the point I'm making is, this person, if someone makes $15,000 a year at McDonald's, how many employees... Okay, let's see. 9,404... We're doing the math again. We're doing math again.
Okay, real math.
9 million... We got 9,443. Okay, 9,443,486. Let's divide this McDonald's CEO salary by 15,000 salary. That is enough. That is 629
times
employees.
Higher.
Yeah. So with the amount of money that the CEO of McDonald's is getting, that's 629 salaries of employees.
Well, yeah. And the point is that he's overpaid?
Little bit. I mean, when you factor in the stock options, that's when it gets...
Yeah, you don't even know what he's getting at that point.
Now, the CEO at Burger King only made a little over $4 million.
Well, because no one goes to Burger King.
But he got over $12 million, almost $13 million in stock options.
Well.
Now, congratulations, QSR Magazine visitor. You've been randomly selected to take part in a survey.
That's a hint that you should leave that website.
I'm going to do that. Well, no, that was another tab. Okay. Wendy's CEO. $4 million in cash compensation, $6 million in stock options. That's the lowest so far.
Wendy's, really?
Yeah, well, the CEO's a female.
Oh. Oh.
It's that whole equal pay thing.
Don't, just stay on topic.
You're still rich.
Stay on topic.
The Subway one is not available.
Oh, really? Oh.
Check out this one. CEO of Yum Brands. 15 million.
What's Yum do, though?
Okay,
Oh.
They united KFC, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell. He gets 15,518,981 a year, and in stock options a year, 126,550,356.
Well,
I think this is the best example right here.
Well, to be fair, he's doing triple the work of the other guys. He's managing 3 gigantic fast food chains as compared to 1.
Okay, yeah, you got me there. But essentially, these people are sitting pretty high and mighty, pretty comfortable. And you know what I think? I think $100,000 is, anywhere between 100 to 500 grand would be a reasonable salary to pay these people.
I mean,
why should they make more than a doctor?
I don't know.
I mean, sure, it has to do with how much profits you can make. You're in for the business. But what they have to realize is none of what the CEOs does matters if you can't get people to cook the food. But the problem is people who cook the food are willing to work for so low, and that's why we have this problem. That's why we need a higher minimum wage.
They don't have options.
Exactly. That's why we have to raise the minimum wage. That's why they need to unionize. So
I don't know if unionizing is going to happen
anytime
soon.
The only hope, it seems like the only hope to improvement here would be to raise the minimum wage.
And I think that's probably where this is going to end up going.
Well, I hope so, because I'm earning minimum wage right now. And let me tell you, $7.40 an hour, which is the minimum wage here in Michigan. Some people it's $7.25.
Ooh.
It's not good money. Okay? I signed up on a lease with a couple other people, and I basically said, look, if I'm going to be on the lease, I can pay my share of rent, which is a fixed rate, but after that I can only go up to $300. That's rent combined with bills. I can only contribute $300 in expenses.
Because there's only so much money you have, and only so many hours in the world.
Yeah. So it's tough out there. Now, you never worked a fast food job.
No, I never did. They didn't want me. I tried.
I never did
Could
either.
never get in.
Well, okay.
That's kind of sad when you actually think about it. You were talking about people being willing to work for nothing, and they wouldn't even take me. I couldn't find an opening.
Because we're at a premium. People who will work for nothing are at a premium. And, people will always argue...
High school kids that don't expect much.
And, there's some people who advocate for no minimum wage, because then apparently everyone would be able to get a job.
Yeah, everyone would be able to get
no
a
one
job.
Would make anything.
Yeah.
We'd all be poor.
There's your biggest problem.
And then we'd all be on welfare because of it.
And
the people who hate welfare are the ones who don't want there to be a minimum wage either.
It's confusing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, if there's no minimum wage, you're going to need welfare when you're working for sweatshop wages.
I don't know. I think, yeah. They say people should be able to... the companies should be able to pay people whatever people are willing to work.
Okay.
But I think immediately there would just be a gigantic push downwards and it would never bounce back up.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. There are 50,000 plus fast food employees just in Metro Detroit. And at 40 hours a week, they're making about $15,000 a year, and they're not even getting the 40 hours a week that they're supposed to be scheduled for. Because people decided, remember, there was a new law, our healthcare reform law said, hey, guess what? If your employee works more than 28 hours a week and you have so many employees, give them health care. Give them some benefits.
So they just hire a lot of employees and give them like 15 hours each.
Yep. That's why there's been so much hiring at my place, at Meijer. When I first got hired, I heard grumblings from some of the other cashiers about, oh, you know why? There's all these new people, right? Oh, yeah, because the next year's healthcare reform law. Well, Meyer's got to be careful with how they schedule me because right now I'm at that average where they'd have to give me benefits because of some of the weeks where, they had turnover and they had no choice but to put me in the 30s. I'm averaging like 27, 28 right now.
They say there's more people working at McDonald's. Well, not McDonald's. There's more fast food workers in Detroit now than there are auto workers.
And you know what that... Okay, go ahead.
And the auto workers make more than twice as much per hour than fast food jobs.
Well, yeah. Well, you can thank outsourcing for that.
I don't know if that's outsourcing.
Yes. Well, okay.
I think a lot of that, because there's still a lot of cars made in America, but I think a lot of it is just sort of the technology. We're getting better at making cars with fewer people.
Well, remember...
Instead of having 10 people putting a car together, you have 2 robots.
We're laying off people like crazy 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, we're becoming... Whenever you hear about job creation, you're hearing about it service jobs. Rick Perry, governor of Texas, when running for president, would brag about his job creation record in Texas.
Yeah.
They were all service jobs. Minimum wage jobs. People talk about job creation. We're losing jobs, whether it be auto manufacturing, but manufacturing jobs in general are being outsourced in the past. And if you don't think that's happening, you're delusional. It's happening. And they're being replaced with service sector jobs, because that's where these people have to find work. Because there aren't enough manufacturing jobs for them anymore. In the past, people could, not go to college, and they'd be able to make a decent living working in manufacturing. Now those jobs are more limited, so now the fast food wages need to go up so people can make a living serving annoying customers.
Okay. I can see you're very, very set in this.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I've had a lot of family work in manufacturing. They're always ranting about outsourcing.
Yeah, and I agree that outsourcing happens, but I don't think it's 100% of the picture.
Well, no, nothing's 100% of the picture.
I mean, even Apple. Apple's moving some of its computer manufacturing back to America because there's just not skilled labor where they want it to be.
Okay. Fair enough.
Americans do a lot of cutting edge stuff. It's not that we don't manufacture, it's that we do it efficiently and we do fancy stuff.
Yeah.
We do the fancy parts. When we look at, your jacket, you look at a shirt, made in China. You look at your jeans, made in China. Easy, cheap labor, that's not a problem. You can outsource that. But we do our own stuff. It's just not where it used to be. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
that didn't go anywhere.
Coming up in part 3, going nowhere fast. Limited occupational mobility in the fast food industry. Some information from the National Employment Law Project and what they have to say. Now,
they have plenty to say. Just a fair warning.
Oh, absolutely. Then after that, some people I could just send to Mars. Reality show. People applying to live on the planet Mars. And you know what you're going to need on Mars, right? You're going to need someone to grow your rhubarbs.
Why? Again? Again?
No, somebody no business. Why don't you? Why don't you? Why don't you take some? Why don't you grow your own? This is not your fucking property. Go somewhere else. Well, this is not my property. Fuck you. Go mind your own business. No, you just don't know what's right and wrong, do you? You're a fucking whore. You like to steal. You stick your nose in everybody's fucking business. This is goddamn Alan.
I'm sorry.
Whore. You hear that? She called her a whore.
Did she really?
Yes.
What?
I know. It's just one of those go-to insults that you say to women. Like when I was in 5th grade.
Do women say that to other?
Maybe anyone. No, like for example, when I was in 5th grade, if I didn't like a girl, I'd just call her a slut. I didn't know what it meant.
Wow.
But I knew it was an insult, so I'd use that word.
Wow, wow, wow.
Not to their faces, but that was the go-to word. Playground graffiti and such.
I remember learning a lot of my bad words from playgrounds.
Oh,
I just look at things and go, and read this and be like, suck my dick. What's a dick? And everyone's like staring at me. I'm like, what? I don't even know what
Well,
this word
firstborn.
means.
Well, that's the thing. Firstborns have to learn it from peers usually, or older cousins. Well, coming up in part 3, numbers.
Numbers? That's it?
Yeah.